Hey there, I'm Mikke.
And I'm Teemu. We've known each other for some 10 years now, and we share many similar interests, such as hiking and exploration, as well as making videos.
We enjoy exploring more remote places and routes, which have sometimes taken us on some interesting adventures.
We have been avid followers of a certain YouTube channel called GeoWizard.
The man behind the channel is Tom Davies, and he's quite famous for his extensive knowledge in geography. One of his most popular series sees him try to attempt to walk a certain distance in a completely straight line.
Yep, not following any roads nor paths, just drawing a straight line on a map and trying to follow it as close as possible. So, during the harsh cold January winter in Finland, the two of us came up with a pretty bonkers idea. We decided to try and cross our hometown of Lempäälä in a straight line.
We sat down one Saturday night to draw some lines on Google Maps. The main challenge with our town is that there's a highway that we needed to cross at a certain possible passage point. So the lines that we came up with looked a bit like this, and this. Eventually, however, we settled on a line that looked like this. It doesn't differ much from the others, but there's one key distinction with this one. This line doesn't cross over any lakes. We did seriously consider to walk over at least one frozen lake, but due to the unusual winter of lots of snow but not that much freezing temperatures, we decided it was not worth the risk. Especially for a stupid challenge like this.
We spent our Sunday morning scouting the key areas of our journey. We even went as far as to take some drone shots and scout a certain river that we needed to cross. We knew this river was going to be our only major obstacle standing in our way. Or so we thought. With all the scouting and planning done in hastily fashion, within 48 hours, we were ready to attempt something that was completely foreign to us. We took our cameras and documented the entire experience. This is how it turned out.
Syötävää tai juotavaa ennen kuin menette erämaan.
Nice. We've got a route.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it's the 12th of January 2021. And it's about 9:20, 9:18. And we've just arrived here next to someone's home. There's Anttila farm over there. And we are on the border of Lempäälä. On the western border, and we're aiming to go to the east. So hopefully I have the route right here, because I've never used a GPS before. And it should be about 22 kilometers that we have to do today. So we're just gonna start walking in that direction and hopefully we'll get somewhere.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see. It's also apparently going to be the snowiest and stormiest day of the year. So just the perfect weather to try this, but it was kind of the only chance that we had, so I have to just try what we have. There's probably going to be quite a lot of snow in the way. But that's okay, we're not afraid of that. here you can see me reducing clothes as I get too warm after only walking for around 2 kilometers. Our journey so far had gone smooth and steady with no setbacks, but when approaching the 3-kilometer mark, we encountered our first unexpected surprise.
We were aware of this ditch on our path, but we were confident it would have been frozen enough to support our weight. But upon arriving to said ditch, it was far from the truth. Luckily, we were able to go around it. This only resulted in a couple of meters of deviation, so we didn't care too much, as otherwise we were mostly right on line.
After crossing a frozen sunflower field, we were met with a couple of nice open fields until we reached the dense forest areas. This is where the journey started to take a toll on us, as the forests were extremely dense and the ground under us was very unpredictable and unstable, as you can see here. As the halfway point of our journey was approaching, we quickly started to realize we were way behind than anticipated. We had severely underestimated how fast we could advance through the dense forests, and at this point we had set our minds to just reaching the highway.
This is tiring. We're pretty exhausted, to be honest. And it's now already 3:07, and we've only gone about halfway. Because it's surprisingly time consuming. Of course, going in 30 centimeter deep snow or so. Sometimes it's up to here, sometimes it's up to here. And while rubber boots are great for going in the snow, they're not that great for walking. So it does take a bit of time. Yeah, let's see. We're already, well, you can't see the sun anyway, but the sun is setting in about half an hour. And then it's going to be quite dark. So we'll just have to see where we can go. But at the moment it's not looking great. It's just way too thick, like this kind of forest.
But we were determined to go on. After still scrambling for another kilometer or so, we finally got out of the forests just before it started to get dark. We passed through the yards of the upcoming houses until we reached a proper paved road in a long time. At this point we needed some external support. As we were using a GPS device for the first time, we hadn't realized how much power they actually use, and we were quickly running out of spare batteries. After a quick call and standing still for half an hour in the chilly breeze, we got some reinforcement batteries and were back in action. After traversing a few more fields and falling down several times in the process, we crossed a railway and some more properties before finally arriving at our main challenge of the day, the frozen river.
While the river was not more than a few meters wide, it was not frozen enough to walk over, nor shallow enough to walk in. Our only option? A rubber boat that had amounted to the most weight in my back. After a furious half an hour of pumping, we were good to go and I set sail. Holding the torch in my mouth, I broke the surprisingly thick ice with an axe and slowly dragged the boat forward, hoping not to fall to the icy dark water. It took a good while to cross and to figure out how to get the boat back to Teemu on the other side, but eventually we managed to throw some ropes and drag the boat back and forth. Unfortunately, it was cold, dark, and the river banks were unreliable for many meters from the river, so we don't have much documentation.
After spending almost 2 hours at the frozen river, it was time to cross a large residential area. We encountered an unfortunate issue as we weren't expecting this innocent-looking ditch to be completely unfrozen and waist deep. Having decided not to make it to the end anyway, we took a 20-meter detour to a nearby bridge, which turned out to be a bit more than that, but more about that later. Luckily, we were now out of the residential area and arriving to the highway underpass.
Hi, future Mikke here. We recorded audio in the underpass, but unfortunately the wind was too loud to make much sense of what I'm saying. Basically, what I'm saying here is that we're so exhausted, and we still have 1/3 of the way to go. Just more forest and wind. And it's way too dark. We're just gonna hurt more of ourselves in the woods. And yeah, I think this was good for now. Good for a first attempt at least. We will have to come back and try to finish it with better circumstances and better weather for sure. During summertime or something.
And unfortunately, that was the end of our journey. We did manage to go over halfway, but we were expecting to finish way ahead on the east side of Lempäälä. However, this was an amazing experience as it truly tested our skills and endurance for 10 hours straight. We will definitely be wiser for our next attempt.
Was actually someone standing there.
And like
at this point it didn't make any difference anyway.